The pressure in Foxborough is not slowly sneaking up anymore. It is pounding on the door. The Patriots have a defense getting recognized as one of the strongest groups in the league, a defensive market that could open a massive window, an offense that finally gives Maye real weapons, and a rookie trying to prove he can survive the toughest cut of the summer. This is not just random noise. This is roster building happening on several fronts at once. So hit that like, subscribe to Patriots Club fans, and stay with me, because New England cannot blink while the AFC keeps speeding up. There are moments when the league tries to act like New England is still asking for permission to get back near the top. Then a ranking like this drops and rips that entire narrative in half. Gilberto Manzano from Sports Illustrated ranked the Patriots' top defensive trio as the 6th best in the NFL. Milton Williams up front, Robert Spillane at the second level, and Christian Gonzalez in coverage. 6th. That is not some small compliment. That is not an off-season pat on the back. That is real recognition that Mike Vrabel's defense already has the backbone of a heavyweight team. And the part people outside Foxborough keep trying to ignore is simple. This did not happen by accident. Milton Williams came in on a massive contract, 4 years and $104 million, and he gave this team real impact. He was not brought here to be some background piece. He was brought in to change the weight of that defensive front. Next to Christian Barmore, that interior becomes a serious problem for any offense trying to run inside or keep the quarterback comfortable in the pocket. When pressure starts coming up the middle, the opposing offense loses options. The ball has to come out faster, the plan gets shorter, and that is where Christian Gonzalez shows up on the other side of the equation. Gonzalez is not some cute draft promise anymore. He is an elite corner, a Pro Bowler, and a player who faced Jackson Smith-Njigba on the Super Bowl stage and proved he belongs at that level. That is the kind of defender who changes offensive calls before the snap even happens. The quarterback looks over there, thinks twice, and sometimes just gives up on that side of the field. That is how a dominant defense works. It does not wait for the play to happen. It gets inside the opponent's head first. And right in the middle of all that is Robert Spillane, who may not get the same national shine, but in New England, we know how to value a linebacker who lives around the football. Even after a slow start and some physical issues in 2025, he still finished with 97 tackles in only 13 games. That is presence. That is awareness. That is constant contact at the second level. The aggressive detail here is that Kevin Byard III, an all-pro safety, did not even make that trio. Just think about that. The Patriots have a player of that caliber sitting in the back end, and the selected trio is still already top 6 in the league. So the real question is this: how many defenses in the AFC can look at that group and honestly say they have more structure, more ceiling, and more immediate impact than New England? Because if the offense with Maye is rising, this defense is already sending a warning. It did not come to follow anybody. It came to control games. And this is where the script gets even nastier, because when a huge contract hits the table, it does not only affect the player who signed it, it shakes everybody waiting for their own turn. Jeffery Simmons got a monster deal in Tennessee, around $105 million, and that kind of number makes agents smile, general managers sweat, and owners start doing the math. In Philadelphia, that lands directly in the conversation around Jalen Carter. Carter, based on what is circulating, is not forcing the Eagles' hand or creating some public drama, but the pressure has changed. Before, Philadelphia could try to push the negotiation down the road, compare things internally, wait another season, see if the price cooled off, or search for a cheaper answer with Moro Ojomo. After Simmons, that door gets tighter. The market spoke loudly, and when the market speaks, elite players hear it. That is the part Patriots fans need to watch with cold blood and wide open eyes. Not because every Philadelphia rumor is suddenly turning into a navy blue jersey tomorrow morning, but because great rosters are built by people who understand the moment before the crowd catches up. The Eagles already extended Jordan Davis. They could prioritize Ojomo because he is cheaper. They could pay Carter and shut the whole conversation down. Or they could get stuck in that dangerous middle ground. Too expensive to extend painlessly, too good to lose comfortably, and too valuable to ignore in trade conversations. And then comes the detail that makes this explosive. The report puts one possibility on the radar. If Philadelphia stumbles, if the team is in a bad spot during the season, something like 3-6, talks with the Raiders for Max Crosby could heat up. That kind of scenario still lives in the world of possibilities, but it shows a brutal truth about the NFL. Even massive players can become chess pieces when cost, timing, and ambition start crashing into each other. For New England, the read is twofold. First, the Patriots already bet big on the interior of the defense with Milton Williams, and that contract looks even more strategic now while the market keeps climbing. Second, this franchise has to keep thinking like a predator, not a spectator. If a talent like Jalen Carter ever truly entered trade talks, the cost would be ridiculous, the competition would be fierce, and the fit would need to be studied without fantasy. But that is exactly how ambitious teams operate. They know which stars could shake loose before the rest of the league even reacts. The aggressive point is this: while some teams wait for the market to calm down, the market runs right over them. Philadelphia now has a decision that could get uncomfortable. And in Foxborough, after seeing the Patriots already pull A.J. Brown away from the Eagles, nobody should treat Philadelphia like untouchable territory. In the modern NFL, untouchable means signed, producing, and still fitting the plan. Everything else becomes a conversation when the pressure arrives. If the defense is warning everybody that New England has teeth again, the offense no longer has an excuse to move sideways. Drake Maye goes into the summer with a receiver room that is deeper, more mature, and a lot more dangerous than the situation where the quarterback had to perform miracles for every first down. A.J. Brown arrived with star power. Mac Hollins has a Super Bowl ring. Romeo Doubs brings playoff experience. And in the middle of that room, almost hidden behind the bigger names, there is Demario Douglas, Pop. I like this part because it shows something serious quarterbacks value: trust in the details. Douglas had only 31 catches, 447 yards, and 3 touchdowns last season. Not huge volume, not a national headline season. But when Drake Maye talked about him at mandatory minicamp, the message was strong. Maye said Pop does the right thing, makes the right plays, catches the football, is tough to cover, and then drop the perfect image. You cannot guard him in a phone booth. That is quarterback language for a guy who knows who can separate in tight space. And in an NFL where third down decides big games, that kind of player cannot be brushed off as a small piece. Douglas is in a contract year, fighting for a role, with Efton Chisholm III also trying to earn space. So the battle is real. But the fit is real too. A quick, low, explosive slot receiver who can break man coverage can become Maye's safety valve when defenses are focused on doubling A.J. Brown or protecting deep against big plays. And with A.J., let's be direct. Maye is excited, and he should be. The Patriots paid a heavy price, sending 2 picks to Philadelphia, including their 2028 first-rounder, because a player of that caliber changes the ceiling of an offense. Maye talked about Brown's size, his ability, the respect he carries when he walks into the building, and especially one word that has never been a small thing in Foxborough: winner. This offense now has hierarchy, it has a star, it has depth, it has competition, and it has a quarterback who seems to understand exactly who can win and in what way. Fan temperature check. Are you more fired up by A.J. Brown's immediate impact, or by the chance that Pop Douglas finally breaks out in the right role? Because if Maye is right with this read, the Patriots did not just add names, they added answers. Not every move that defines a roster comes with a huge headline, a massive contract, or a first-round trade. Sometimes the build shows up in a 6th-round rookie staying in Foxborough, while the veterans go get a little time away from the building. Namdi Obiazor, the linebacker out of TCU, is in that exact spot. He did not arrive as a star. He did not arrive with a guaranteed job. But he arrived with a story that fits the kind of competition the Patriots need to value. Obiazor was under-recruited out of high school, bet on himself at the junior college level, fought his way to TCU, and now he is trying to turn that journey into a real NFL role. After rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp, he said the biggest thing was learning how the Patriots operate and how the league operates. That sounds simple, but for a rookie defender, especially a linebacker, it is huge. At that position, you cannot just run and hit. You have to understand adjustments, run fits, coverage, communication, and what the defensive line is trying to do in front of you. And this is the detail that caught my attention. He is not just talking to one coach. He mentioned the whole defensive staff, linebackers, the coordinator, the head coach, even the defensive backs coaches, trying to understand how everything connects. That is the mindset of a player who knows that to survive on the roster, he has to master more than just his own assignment. His fight is not easy. Robert Spillane and Christian Ellis are ahead of him. Chad Muma and KJ Britt had solid spring work. Obiazor probably enters as a reserve candidate and a special teams piece. But that is exactly the kind of door a 6th-round player has to kick open. Special teams first, trust next, defensive snaps when the opportunity comes. He said he plans to stay around, use the facility, and do everything he can to come into camp in the best shape possible. I respect that, because in New England, pretty words do not protect a roster spot. Work, preparation, and usefulness do. If Obiazor really wants to survive the summer, he is starting the right way. staying close to the building, learning the system, and treating every practice like a job interview. The read of the day is simple, and it is heavy. The Patriots are not standing still. The defense already has national respect. The market could create aggressive opportunities. Drake Maye finally has a receiver room with real threat, and even the bottom of the roster is being tested with seriousness. That is how a franchise starts becoming annoying again. Stars at the top, competition in the middle, and hunger at the bottom of the roster. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these 4 stories matters most for New England's future? Drop it in the comments, hit the like, subscribe to Patriots Club fans, and come back tomorrow, because Foxborough does not sleep.